Alright, matrix. We're starting our matrix unit. A matrix is a rectangular array of numbers, symbols, or expressions. They're arranged in rows and columns. Alright, so rows are horizontal, columns are vertical. Now, when you have a matrix, we have what are called elements. Now,
It's a fart.
all right. So, matrix is named rows, has a name, rows by columns. Alright, so this matrix has a name of 2, because it has 2 rows.
Indeed.
So it has 2 rows, and then it has the X means by, then it has 3 columns. So this one has a name of 2 by 3. So matrices are named by how many rows they have, then the X means the word by, and then how many columns they have. Now, we have what's called an element. I want to know what element is in 2, 2. So that tells me I count the second row. Here's 1, 2 rows. Element in 2, 2. So you count your rows. All right, there's my second row. And then there's 1, 2 column. So what element is in 2, 2? -9. Yes.
So it's not like a graph?
No.
Okay, so it goes down or right?
Alright, so it's always named by the rows first, then by the column. Alright, so if I give you this one. So we want to find today's lesson. Alright, so here is so we have the pizza delivery problem. Now, if I ask you what element is in 2, 3, what element is in 2, 3? 50 cents. Because you go the second row, 1, 2, the third column. Alright, so the element in 2, 3 would be 50 cents. Now, so the first thing we want to do is we have this table. And what a matrix allows us to do is do quick calculations in table format. So I have this table and I want to make it into a matrix. Alright. So you start with element 1, 1. So that's a 12. Element 2, 1. And all you're doing is putting your numbers. in the same spot. You're getting rid of the names and the food. There's the pencil box. All right, so we have a 10, a 1, and a 450. An 11, 50, and 350.
What? Why does that look like that?
It's not the word. So basically, you're taking this right here
Bringing it down.
and, yes, putting it in brackets. All right. The dimensions of a matrix are read row by column. Row by column. Row by column. Alright. So, what are the dimensions of the following matrix? This one has
3 rows.
3, 4.
3 rows by
2, 3, and 4.
4. So it's a 3 by 4. That X, you have to put the word by. It's not a 3, 4. It is a 3 by 4. Yes, put the X. That X means the word by. Alright. 2, 2. 2 by 3. 4 by 2. Alright. So, elements. We just talked about elements. So, element in matrix A that is at position 2, 1. So, second row, first column, -2. So, what element from matrix A is in 3, 2? -15. Good. Alright. So that is how they're named and elements. Alright, so we're going to go to the first part. Doing operations with a matrix. Adding and subtracting. Alright. To add or subtract two matrices, the dimensions must be exactly the same. So your dimensions must be exactly the same. Must be exactly the same. So to add or subtract, your dimensions must be exactly the same. Alright. And then you add or subtract corresponding elements. Add or subtract the corresponding elements. Alright. So this one has a plus sign. So let's look at problem 1. So you take -3 and it corresponds to 2. So -3 plus 2. So this is a -1. 0 plus -4. -4. 5 plus -7. Alright. So we have -1, -4, -2, -1 plus 9. 8. So you add or subtract your corresponding elements. So that's all you're doing. We're going all the way back to first and second grade where we're adding and subtracting. Very, very simple. All you have to do is match up your elements and then add or subtract them. All right.
Okay.
So, 12-1, practice. Matrix operations.
I can't even read.
Oh, no, we got to do scalar first.
And scalar.
All right, multiplying by a scalar. It's very simple. You multiply the scalar to each element. Multiply the scalar by each element. Just multiply. All right, so 5 times -2,
Negative 10.
-10. 5 times 3, 15. 5 times -6, -30. 5 times 1, 5.
And that's the answer.
And that is your answer.
You forgot something.
Bracket.
All right. So you multiply the number that's outside by each element. Each element is multiplied by the scalar. That's it.
What about it?
All right. So let's look at this one. Number 5.
What I got? Ooh. Wow. This is one of the good.
All right. So let's look at this problem. All right. So the first thing you do is you multiply. You multiply the scalar first. So this one stays the same. What's 2 times 4?
Negative
2 times 4 is 8.
Wait, so it's not negative?
2 times -5, -10. 2 times -3, -6. All right. So now you go 10 minus 8.
2.
3 minus -10.
13. Negative 13 is 13.
13. -4 minus -6.
No, that's 8. Hold on. That's 2.
-4
2. That's 2.
minus -6
Negative 1
is 2. So you multiply by your scalar, then you do the addition or subtraction. All right. First assignment. It's problems 1 through 9. One through 9. Alright, so 1 through 9 is your first assignment. Addition, so it's subtraction, addition, then subtraction. Remember, add, subtract, you go left to right. Subtract, then subtract. This one, there's your scalar. So you do the multiplication first, and then you do subtract, subtract. Number 7. Alright, look at number 8. What am I going to do first?
Multiply the three, no.
Parentheses. You do what's in the parentheses first. So you do your parentheses. So you do this piece right here first. Then you multiply. Only because it's in parentheses. You still use your order of operations.
So it's just gonna be -3.
No.
No.
-1 plus 5.
I know I'm saying on the outside.
Oh, yes. So that'd be -3 times, then whatever you get in here.
And parentheses and the, bracket.
So what's -1 plus 5? 4. -4 plus -6, -10. And then you would multiply this by each inside. Because you do this right here first. Then you multiply that answer by your -3.
That's a lot.
Because of order of operations. Alright, any questions?
Are you doing,
Can we do number 9?
no,
No. Why?
because, the thing is the same.
Because they're not exactly the same.
Is that the same thing for number 3, matrix operations? Not the questions, but,
Alright. You cannot add them or subtract them if they don't have the exact same name. This one is a 2 by 1, 2 by 1, 2 by 1. So their name is 2, middle by, last is 1. 2 by 1. They have to have the exact same name to be able to add or subtract.
that was 1 by 2.
Rows, then columns. Always rows, then columns.